Hey all, welcome. What I'd like to do for you now is a 3-card spread. Recent past, current situation, I'm moving forward, with a couple of clarifiers, and finally, an oracle card. So, I suppose I'm kind of trapped by the constraints of my own culture, being an American, but I just can't help but see here something playing out about not just the greater consciousness, but maybe geopolitics at large. In the recent past, with the Ten of Pentacles and the Six of Wands, it's like a vying for power with these great institutions, these governments, these oligarchs, these families with power, the dynasties. It's like there's some kind of battle here. And in the present, with the Eight of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, it feels kind of like the rest of us are caught in between, spinning our wheels. It almost feels like almost like a broken record player. I feel like this is us attempting to balance the scales within our own lives, but it's almost like it's never enough. It's almost like the power, the wealth, the resources are being siphoned off by these top-level players who are using those resources, using those power plays to fight amongst themselves. I don't even feel like we're part of it. It's almost like we've been kind of neglected or a second thought for these bigger players. And what's kind of interesting here is moving forward with the Emperor and the Ace of Cups. The Emperor is the stereotypical domineering leader. It's what we would think of as the ruler of a nation, a government, which is what I'm kind of seeing here as a pattern. But weirdly enough, with the Ace of Cups, I almost feel like there is a purity of heart in these global machinations. It's almost like there is a sense of true duty to one's nation to continue that particular metaphor. It's like there's a feeling behind it. There is a true belief here that it's the right thing to do. And it's really strange because it's almost like the rest of us in the middle can see the politicking going on here, seeing it's counterproductive, how it's depleting our sovereignty or our, patriotism in a lot of ways. And yet it's almost like leadership is doing it on behalf of these ideals that perhaps their constituents have kind of abandoned. And so it's like this interesting dynamic of there is an element of pursuit of power here, or a pursuit of victory, but it's like meant to be something that the people will love and appreciate, and it's just not hitting right. It's really strange because I think we all kind of know and truly believe, and it's mostly true, that power is for these sociopaths. The people who are the sickest are the ones who want to pursue power and dominate others. But there's like something else here. There's another layer. So let me pull more clarifiers here. Yeah, I really feel like with this Fool and Magician, it's like there is a almost careless, cockamamie, not thought through belief in one's own power to succeed, to win. I think we kind of all know what that might be alluding to in the US especially. But it's interesting because it really is like innocence. It's really like kind of an obliviousness to the potential setbacks or consequences for certain kinds of pursuits of resource acquisition or these power plays. When you instigate hostilities, it's like you're getting into all these other layers of changing history, perhaps for the worse, politically speaking. I mean, you don't get to have these allianceships with other nations anymore because you broke promises. But it's almost like this true belief that these elites, these moves are going to work just because of the sheer, power of manifestation. And in certain circumstances, this is a really powerful energy to believe in oneself so off the charts that you can actually create something out of nothing. I mean, there is magic in that mentality, but it's almost like in the present energy, the rest of us are totally not participating. We are not impressed. The Four of Swords with the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles, it's like there's this feeling of wanting to just keep your head down, keep your head above water, have some space from all of this, all these machinations that have nothing to do with the rest of us. And it's like, these are exhausting energies. And it's just so interesting because the perception of people in leadership positions is that they have to be more competent. They have to have been successful for a reason. I think this is a big fallacy and a big realization that the collective is having in general is that power structures are actually incredibly flawed. They're full of people who play the game as opposed to have the right credentials or the right ideology to benefit others. And it's like, we're sitting here going, yeah, shut up. Like, the proof is in the pudding. Like, we all know this. Like, you can say a bunch of shit, a bunch of bullshit, and pretend like that's going to lead to success. But if you don't have the proof in the pudding, you don't have the outcome, and it's actually damaging to the majority of people within a nation, it's like, what are you doing? And it's interesting here because with the Seven of Cups, with the Ace of Cups and the Emperor, it really speaks to the delusion. The Seven of Cups to me, I typically read as delusion, confusion, something where you've been falsely sold a bill of goods and you're kind of not necessarily even aware that the foundational premise is faulty. Like with the Fool and the Seven of Cups, it really feels like delusion. It feels like the being led astray. And like I said, normally these energies could be incredibly positive if they're, because there's a lot of genuine emotion behind it. There's a lot of manifestational power with these kinds of fearless actions, but it's just not hitting correctly with the rest of us. It's like these are mountaintops and we're in the valley, experiencing the fallout from all of these bad decisions. And, I think it's not like a fear, it's almost like a exhaustion and a desire to be left alone. And yeah, I think it's almost like down here you can see the patterns in the clouds, and these people are just too close to the sun. These institutions, these, these elite levels, the powers that be, they're too close to the sun. They can't see the forest for the trees. And it's very off-putting. It's very frustrating. It makes people feel disconnected and despairing. But let me pull an oracle card. The Patron, mentorship and finances. It does feel like these two hands are sort of gripping externally, trying to pull resources from everything around it. And it's like, on one hand, that could be really positive. Like I said, that's the necessary ingredient for manifestation, is being able to pull things out of your environment and make magic with them. But it's like, we feel like we are the ones being extracted from, and that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel uplifting. It doesn't feel like optimistic. And it's kind of it's a neutral card. Energetically, it's sort of neutral. It feels kind of more like a dawning awareness. I think we've all been kind of leading up to this realization together that it's not about left and right, it's about up and down. And yeah, it's like, I think by taking a time out in this gameplay, it's almost like we can kind of get our bearings again. It's kind of like when you understand the game, it's easier to play with the cards that you have. And, we're kind of just realigning our awareness about who we can trust and, what our institutions really do for us. But I think there is a level of needing to have empathy for the fact that not all things in positions of power are innately bad or evil or anything like that. It's almost like there's a childishness that I think we need to understand is probably the majority of people's shadow side. It's almost like the short-term thinking is a very childlike tendency, and the desire for attention or success or approval and validation. It's kind of like that's the main motivator. It's not necessarily just pure desire to subjugate. But regardless, it's kind of like we got to figure out how we're going to work together as a community to balance out these powers that are at play that just have more control in the moment. I don't think that's going to be the case forever. There's always an ever-changing dynamic and polarity. But yeah, I really think that we're kind of breaking through, and it does feel a little bit like depressing. It's kind of a little bit like a bummer. It's a little bit bleak. But it's like there's a dark to every light. I mean, those moments of clarity and breakthrough are actually the way that we can expand and find a better balance and stand our own ground when it comes to dealing with power structures, institutions, and individuals, even in our personal lives, that need some contending with. So that's what I got for you. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Take care.